Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Stacy and I'm coming to you from Detroit, Michigan, where I live with my husband Doug, our daughter Eliza, and our pug Esther, who you're going to be hearing kind of tiptoeing around in the background. Today is March 22nd, 2025, and I thought I would do something a little bit differently. So there's a good chance that you are used to watching me talk about knitting. That's really what this channel has been for the past 9 years, which is wild. But this fall and winter, I have fallen in love with quilting. And I'm still knitting and I have some stuff to show you, but I'm going to be doing that in another video. I kind of want to keep these two things separate so that people who are interested in the quilting aspect have videos to watch and people who are interested in the knitting aspect have videos to watch. And if you're interested in both, you can watch both. And if you're only interested in one, you don't have to worry about like sifting through and finding the right content for you. So I hope this means shorter videos and more videos. And I hope this also reaches some quilters out there because I have also been loving quilting YouTube. So I'm just going to start, and it's always a little bit scary to start something a little bit new, but I have so many things that I've been not so many, but I have some things that I've been working on, and I'm really excited to share them with you. And I have my coffee and my favorite mug that says bear with me, because I am a beginner at quilting. This is, you know, I've been knitting for over 10 years now, which is wild. And quilting, I just started this November. So I'm very new and I don't really know how people like to share their quilting online. It's mostly Instagram, but I thought I would kind of take how I share my knitting and translate it to quilting. So I have a couple of things that I have finished and some stuff that I'm working on. Okay, so first things first, I do have a series that I'm working on here on YouTube about making my first quilt. So I'm not gonna fully share this quilt top with you because the quilt top is done, which is right here. And I'm currently working on I'm currently editing the video of creating the quilt top, or at least like putting the components together for this. And then I need to purchase batting for this quilt. So this is the sugar quilt. This is a Then Came June free pattern. It is half square triangle, 4 half square triangle blocks. Blocks of 4 half square triangles is what I'm trying to say. And I used all Ruby Star Society fabrics. And this is for my daughter Eliza. Her birthday is in June. And so I am putting that deadline on myself. I would like to get it done sooner, but I mean, we're at the end of March and I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I think getting this done by her birthday is more than reasonable. I do need to purchase the batting for it because I have twin size batting, but this quilt is a little bit wider and I could cut up some batting and kind of Franken piece it together. But I am planning other quilts that are going to be twin size or throw size. So I don't really want to do that because I already have the batting and I just want to keep that for those projects. So I'm going to buy a queen size bag of batting for this quilt. And then just cut off the excess and use that as extras for wall hangings, or I have a baby quilt for a family member that I would like to make. Yeah, that's about it. So that's all that's holding me up because I have my finished quilt top. I also have my backing fabric. I was originally going to piece my backing fabric, but when I laid it out, I just wasn't in love with it. But I was in love with this large piece of wide back backing that I have from Ruby Star, which is this. And so I bought enough to use the whole thing for my quilt back. And it's so soft and it's so beautiful, and I think it's all going to go together perfectly, and it just suits my daughter Eliza so much. It's such a fun quilt with a fun backing, and every time I've shown it to her, she's really enjoyed it. So that is a project I'm hoping to have done soon. And then I have finished 2 projects in the last month or so. So the first one is, if you followed my Vlogmas journey, you will know that I quilted and made 5 tote bags for my 2 sisters, my mom, and my 2 best friends for Christmas. It was a lot. It was also the first project that I've ever really done, and it was a little daunting, and now I'm realizing that I did not look up how to say this pattern name because I always say it incorrectly in my head, and because I've said it incorrectly in my head so many times, even since I was a kid when I saw this word, I know that I'm going to mispronounce it, but I think we're just gonna go with it, and we're going to just let ourselves have this little goofy moment, because who cares? So this is the Pretem, I think, pattern by Abby Made, and I just used 1 quilt block for each of the tote bags, and I love how it turned out. I also used Abby Made's tote bag tutorial of how to turn a quilt block into a tote bag, which I will link everything in the description below if you are looking for patterns or the tutorials that I'm talking about. So here is my tote bag, and I love it. I used Art Gallery fabrics, I believe Georgia Peach, Snapdragon, apple cider, maybe? Spice cider, something like that. Then the main color is coconut cream or coconut milk, one of the 2. But yeah, so here it is. So you use the whole quilt block. In the tutorial, she suggests you size down the quilt block so that the whole thing is showing, because there are obviously like clipped bits of the pattern that gets sucked into the seam allowance. And I'm okay with that because I love how big the star is. I think it's really fun. So yes, I love it. I did pinstripe, just straight line quilting on the front and on the back. And I lined the bag with this print that I really, really love. And as you can see, it's not perfect. I have some threads to trim. I've already used this. I have some scissors right here. I've already used this. I went to Eastern Market with my mom last weekend, and both of us brought our tote bags, and it was lovely. I had tulips hanging out of it, and it just felt lovely to walk around with a bag that I made. I really love a practical project, things that I'm actually going to use, and this was the perfect project. I can see myself making more tote bags in the future. I do need a break from them for a while because I have made 6 in the past few months, but I'm happy to finally have my own in my color palette. I love like peachy pinks and burnt oranges, so this is right up my alley. And then I decided, so after I finished my quilt top, I realized I have never bound a quilt before. I think, okay, that might be a lie. So my maternal grandmother was an avid quilter. She was a hand quilter, and I will eventually share some of the pieces that I have of her making in my house, because I have a few. And I think there was a time when she came up to visit and she taught us, I think we made like a little 9-patch, kind of like a mug rug situation. It lives under a lamp at my house. And I think she taught me how to bind then, but I was probably like 7. And I am in my 30s now. So I don't remember, but I think that's the only other time I've ever bound anything. So it's been a long time. I had no idea what I was doing. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a mini quilt and learn on something that's a much smaller scale before I attempt to bind a twin size quilt. So I grabbed a pattern also by Abby Made Designs, which is called Daisy May. And it's this beautiful flower pattern. And I made the wall hanging size, which is here. So I did, I used Art Gallery fabrics again. These two are the same colors from my bag. So Georgia Peach, Snapdragon. The middle, the center is Raw Gold, and the bottom is Fern. These are all Art Gallery. And then the background, Esther is doing something weird. I don't know what she's doing. Okay. The background is, I know, it's one of the off-white colors. Esther. I don't know what she's doing. Sorry about that noise. And then I used this really beautiful print. I think it's also Art Gallery, but it has birds and berries on it. And I pieced the backing together, which is nice because you can't, realizing how much you really can't tell where any of, oh, I can tell right there. But you have to really look for it, which is really cool. So here is my, like this line right here above the bird is where I seamed everything, which you really can't tell. And then the binding fabric is from Cotton and Steel, and it's one of my favorite fabrics. It's really cool. It's all of my favorite colors. Yeah, I used a no fuss binding tutorial from Pin Cut Sew that I will link below. And I loved every second of it. It was super simple. Binding was really nerve-wracking to me. I do think I'll cut my binding a little bit thicker maybe next time, maybe closer to 3 inches, just so I have room, because I had a really hard time turning the corners. And so I have ones that are obviously like not super great. Yeah, it's not great. But then I have some that are actually really nice. So it was a learn as I go experience. I don't really have any, like, I don't have a ton of supplies because I'm new, so I don't have a ton of thread colors, and I just used an off-white thread color so you can see the stitches sometimes, but that's okay because it was really obvious here because I was learning. This is where I started, so it's like my worst corner and my worst stitches. And then it got progressively better. And I'm really, like, obviously there's some spots that are not great, but I'm really proud of how it turned out. And I did this, like, curvy diagonal quilting that I really love. And we're going to hang this up in our hallway upstairs. And I'm really excited to have just these little pieces of quilting around the house because I feel like they're just so cozy. I'm also so excited to just have quilts around the house because just feeling this is so exciting to me. It feels so good. Yes, that is everything that I have finished. Then I have some works in progress. I will start with my English paper piecing. So this is my grandmother's flower garden. I have a love-hate relationship with this project. I don't know I really want this to be a full quilt. We'll see what happens. It might end up being like a table runner or something. I think it'll be a full quilt. It's just, it takes so long, right? So I have a ton of these. I have about 30 of these really scrappy flowers, and then I'm using Art Gallery solids in the cinnamon colorway to outline all of them. So it is going, but here, let me show you my basket here's my basket of flowers. I'm slightly regretting that I did them scrappy because I can't put them next to each other because they won't look like oh, I need to talk to you about this. They don't look like flowers. They'll look just like a bunch of hexagons together because I really love this. So I'm a little bummed that that's what I did, but I still think it's going to be beautiful. And then I recently purchased some new fabrics for this project, and it just doesn't go, it's just a little too different. I'm going to stick with these like moody earth tone colors because I just think that makes more sense. And I am also taking the papers out as I go so that it's not as rigid. So this is what the back looks like right now. You take the papers out as you sew. As long as every side is sewed together, you can take them out. Yeah. I do love this project, but I'm loving something else a little bit more. I love this center fabric. I want my life in this center fabric. What I've fallen in love with, the project that is turning into my next quilt, which feels wild since I haven't even finished my other one. But this is more of I'm passing time slowly. I'm not in a rush to get this done. I only have 3 blocks. I decided, because there are a couple of scrappy quilts that I really love. I love the Trip Around the World quilt, and I love the Checkered Garden quilt. So I thought I would just try my hand at the Checkered Garden quilt. And here is my first block. And I love it. I really do. I'm using Ruby Star Society fabric again. The color palette of Ruby Star is just, it's something I enjoy so much, specifically at like shades of this. The mustard golden yellows, the really beautiful pale purples, the pinks. It just all works for me. So a lot of these are scraps from Eliza's quilt, except for the corners, which are some fat quarters that I purchased recently. So here is quilt block number 1, quilt block number 2. So fun. I'm kind of regretting putting these 2 pinks in the same block, but I still really like it. And then my favorite block right now because of the birds. So here is this one. And I put a bird in the middle. And it's really bringing me a lot of joy. So here is the start of a Checkered Garden quilt. I'll probably do 30 to 35 blocks. I'm thinking about doing a 5x6 throw size, twin size, somewhere in there. And I'm just really enjoying it. So I've been cutting out the components and I'm just slowly piecing them together in no rush, just enjoying the process. I love this gray bird fabric. I want everything in it. Yes, I think this is so much fun. And I will link the free pattern below, as well as the tutorial that I am following in order to nest my seams together. I found a YouTube tutorial of someone talking about how they only give you instructions for pressing one block. And so this person made the opposite directions and kind of walks you through how they pressed block number 2, and has a genius way of remembering, like if it's a darker corner fabric, it's a block B. If it's a lighter corner fabric, it's block A. And that way everything nests together really nicely when you're putting your quilt top together. So I think that's going to be really helpful, and I've really enjoyed doing it. But yeah, I really love this pattern, and I'm excited to work on it as we go along. But that is everything that I am working on. I am really just having the time of my life playing with color, having fabric kind of stacked everywhere. I finally cleaned out my table. And I'm really enjoying learning something new and having fun with it, and not being super like this needs to be perfect right now, which is how I felt when I first started. And I am very lucky to know a couple of people who sew in my life who've given me pep talks and letting me know it's impossible to have a perfect quilt and it's okay if things are a little wonky, and that has made everything just so much more fun. Yeah, so with that, I hope you enjoyed my first quilty video, and look out for the quilt series that I am putting together. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.